Brilliant Thing, and Lungs for Sandbox Fest 2023. So welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for coming here. Apparently, this is not the first time you guys have been at Rappler. So,
Yes.
let's make you mainstays.
Always happy to be here.
Okay, so before anything else, for those unfamiliar, could you tell us more about the Sandbox Collective and what makes it maybe different from other local theater groups?
Would you like to, Miss Kakki Teodoro?
Ay, napasa mo sa akin, Shati, ah.
Sumisimple ako.
I'm an actor who has worked with Sandbox for about 3 years now. So I was first part of their production of Himala, isang musical. And then Every Brilliant Thing, which we staged in 2019 and 2020, pero naudlot. And then right now we're back with Sandbox Fest. How I understand Sandbox Collective is they have a sister company called Nineworks Theatricals. So usually sa Nineworks, nandun yung mainstream ng mga shows, yung mga kilala na sa Broadway, dadalhin nila dito, or they're gonna stage the bigger musicals, the bigger shows. What Sandbox does is they usually put up the more daring shows, yung mga shows that push boundaries. They cover topics like climate change, pediatric cancer, mental health. At times na ready na ba ang Philippine audience for that? I remember when we staged Every Brilliant Thing in 2019. And we were thinking, may manonood kaya?
Because it's about mental health
Yes,
at that
and
time.
at the time, ano pa lang nung mental health bill. Nagsimula pa lang siya, hindi pa siya part ng vocabulary ng mga Pilipino
Saka hindi
talaga.
pa siya pinag-uusapan talaga.
Diba?
Oo.
So always when we think of Sandbox, we're excited kasi ano kaya yung i-offer nila this year? Ano kaya yung topics na i-cover ng mga plays? Ano yung dadalhin nila dito? And para siyang diba, Sandbox, diba, you're always playing, diba? And it's always a safe space to explore as well and to push the boundaries of Philippine theater. So that's how I look at Sandbox.
That's the perfect explanation. Thank you, Kakki.
Namaste.
Thank you, Miss Kakki.
So, this is Sandbox. Sandbox has come back after 3 years.
Yes.
Because of that little thing called the pandemic.
Mhm.
So, how does it feel like to be back in theater, on stage? Have you noticed a difference in theater since yung post-lockdown?
Definitely. I would say, let's say, in terms of audiences, it's a whole new audience now. Like before, you would go into the theater and then you would find your familiar faces, the people that you have become friends with already, the patrons, all of those people. Ngayon, iba na talaga. And there's a whole new younger audience watching. Hindi namin alam kung ano nangyari during the pandemic, pero na-discover nila ang theater. Na-discover nila na meron palang theater sa Philippines
Yes.
na they can be a part of. So audience-wise, that's different. And then, at least for us, at least ako, sasabihin ko, sobrang narusty ako over the pandemic. I mean,
I feel you, girl.
medyo hindi tayo gumalaw for a while. Being able to enact, being able to live out these kinds of stories while using your body and your whole self as an instrument. It's quite tricky to not be able to practice that for a while. So it's a great feeling that now you get to do it again within Sandbox, which is a safe space where you can explore and rediscover your roots and your influences as an actor and how to discover your own craft again.
Right.
Yes. Napansin ko rin na the audiences now are smarter and they're outspoken. Because there's also social media for that. Diba? They're gonna watch a show, then they're gonna post, alam mo, I like what they talked about in this particular play. Or they're gonna say, I didn't really like yung flow ng story. I didn't feel na bakit ganito yung ginawa sa character na to. So, ang ganda because lumalaki yung ating thinking audience. And meron ding extra gigil for them to watch a live performance now. I think because nga tagal natin na-enclose nung pandemic Everything was just virtual. And so ngayon, if they could go out, as long as they feel comfortable, safe, vaccinated, they're gonna go out and watch a live performance. And we're very happy because sa theater industry rin, we've lost more than a couple of years, diba? and we're still in our recovery year,
Right.
it makes us very happy
Mhm.
to see that the theaters are full. And tama nga yung sinabi ni Justine, na we see new faces in the audience. Kaya it makes us feel good, really fulfilled. Minsan nakakaiyak. Also parang, oh my God, this is really happening.
Yeah.
Kaya we're very, very grateful. We're very excited. And we share this same feeling with our audiences also. Gigil din kami pumunta on stage.
How about you, Brian? Ano yan?
Parang nasabi lang nila.
Okay.
Dagdag ka naman, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time.
Parang, I don't know, it's quite surprising to see younger faces. Yun eh. Doon ako yung mas naaaliw na parang, una-una, saan na ako kayong pera?
Yeah.
Pili no.
Buti pa kayo.
Parang galing. Good job, you. Pero, yun yung parang naaaliw ako na puno. I've been watching the past couple of months. It's been like one show after another. Every time I go inside the theater, it's just full.
Yes.
And then that to me is surprising kasi before, nag-aagawan pa nga tayo ng time na, oy, amin muna to yung audience, kayo muna. Now it's like,
Ngayon, sabay-sabay tayo nagkakashow. Sabay-sabay tayo nagre-rehearse.
And people are watching.
And people are watching.
the experience of going back into it though as a performer,
Yeah.
it's daunting.
Sure.
Yeah.
Na parang, akala mo it's like riding a bike. Pero hindi eh. Yung, parang last night we had this Sandbox night. Parang few audience na close to us that we trust, and that sort of thing. Pero iba pa rin yung, akala mo, hindi, kaya yan. Normal yan. Friends yan eh.
They're our friends.
Pag-start ng run yung, hala, tutug, tutug, tutug.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kinakabahan na.
Which is fun because
Yeah.
you know it feels like you're starting a new experience altogether in spite of doing this for quite some time.
Yes.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
It's interesting what Kakki said na parang it was 2019, yung Every Brilliant Thing, parang you weren't sure if that kind of mental health topic would be embraced. But thanks to the pandemic, feeling ko, like theory ko, because nga people started getting mental health issues. Like nagagets na nila. So I guess that's also what contributed to people being interested in these kinds of stories. So, ayun. So, let's get into the actual plays. So, Every Brilliant Thing, before that, yung mga kasama nyo. So, Every Brilliant Thing will feature, besides yourselves, Teresa Herrera and John Santos. And Lungs will feature, besides Brian and Justine, Reb Atadero and Sab Jose. So, Kakki first, could you tell us more about what Every Brilliant Thing is about?
Okay, so Every Brilliant Thing is about a child's journey, a person's journey since childhood, because this person is sharing the story of how she dealt with her mother's mental health condition, which also covers the topics of suicide and depression.
Right.
So what happened was she started making a list of brilliant things in life because she wanted to share it to her mom. Gusto niya i-share na maraming bagay sa mundo that are worth living for. So she started doing that. And then in the journey also, as she was growing up, this list of things actually helped her cope as well as being as a caretaker, as taking care of herself as well for her own mental health. Hindi rin niya na-realize na ang dami palang natulungan ng brilliant list niya. And so yan, it's also about sharing the message of hope, really. It's the message of hope and of just taking things day by day. Also a message of how we can also be better caretakers of each other. And yeah, and also just creating safe spaces for other people. So yeah, and it's the format of the show is I love it kasi it's it takes on improv.
Oh, cool.
And so marami kaming ang audience mo, maraming gagawin kapag manonood ng show. And it helps talaga in the journey because I don't know, parang mas ang ganda nung nagiging effect niya sa mga nanonood. They understand the story better. Ang dami nilang nauuwing bagay, ang dami nilang nababaon from watching the show and participating in the show. Versus maybe just reading something online or like reading a mental health pamphlet or going to a seminar.
Yeah.
This one really engages the audiences. Kaya, ang saya ng experience. It takes you on a journey, the highs and the lows. And this is also why everyone na nanonood, excited din silang, matry ko nga yung isang araw na to. Because nagiging iba yung experience mo. Kasi me as an actor, I'm also casting different people in this story to play certain characters. So it's not the same every night. And iba rin yung experience, depende sa kung sinong co-actor. Iba yung show kapag si Teresa. Iba yung magiging show kapag si John.
Yes.
Yan, kaya excited silang, punta rin ako dito sa ibang araw na to. I'm gonna bring my friends, I'm gonna bring my family. And that has really been very fulfilling din para sa amin as actors.
I was actually going to ask nga about, like, well, it's written by Duncan Macmillan, who I
Yes.
assume is not Filipino.
Yes.
I was about to ask like how you could make the play more Filipino, but now that you mentioned the improv part, I guess that makes it like parang incorporating Filipinos in it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Duncan Macmillan mismo sa script, he says that this play should be what's
Set.
this? It should
Adapted.
adapted.
Set.
Yes, it should be adapted sa lugar kung nasan ka. Please change the references.
That's great.
Sabihin niya doon, so that you could make the story more relatable.
And more personal.
More personal, exactly.
Ganda.
Galing ni Duncan Macmillan. He also made Lungs, so he's just so ahead of his time talaga.
Yeah,
So, segue to
considering-
lungs.
Oh, there you go. Considering both materials were made like at least a decade ago.
Oo. Sobra. Ang galing-galing. Si Duncan. Si Duncan.
Si Duncan.
Hiring Duncan.
Kuya Dunk.
So,
Kuya Dunk.
so what is Kuya Dunks' lungs?
Would you like to take...
Si Brian.
Okay. Yeah, sige.
Kukunin ko yun.
Sige.
Sige.
All right. So, Lungs is about the journey of a modern couple, who sort of opens the discussion about whether or not to have a child in the current climate, both economic climate, political climate, in the world today, essentially. And they ask the questions of whether or not they should have it, or are they just deciding to have a child because of the pressures of it, or are they having it because they want to? So these are conversations, very intimate conversations that a lot of couples have, but it's not usually talked about. Because usually nahihiya yung mga tao na pag-usapan na, you know how when you talk about certain things, ayaw mo ma-judge na parang, like, gusto ko ba talaga maging mom? Ayaw ko ba talaga ng mga bata? You know, those kinds of things. And these are actual real conversations that people have and people should be having. And they should know that it's okay to have these kinds of conversations, because it starts with asking these kinds of having these kinds of conversations that will enable you to really determine whether or not you're ready for that next step, a very important step in life. So,
Lalo na dito sa Pilipinas.
lalo na dito sa Pilipinas.
Yeah.
So, kumbaga, it begs the question, if should you have a child? Is it okay to have a child? Is it okay not to have a child? That sort of thing. Or why are you having a child in the first place? Parang, are you doing it for yourself or for other reasons? That sort of thing.
Has Justine fulfilled the synopsis?
Galing.
Done your homework.
Sige, I'll go back to Brian on another question na lang later. Sige, so first kay Kakki, what's the biggest challenge of taking on every brilliant thing?
The biggest challenge and also the biggest joy is the format of Every Brilliant Thing. It's a one-woman show, one-person show. And yun na nga, you don't know kung sino yung magiging audience mo. Minsan, wow, nandiyan yung mga kaibigan mo. O kaya minsan, hindi mo talaga kilala. And then you're gonna be casting them, inviting them, asking for their consent to be part of the story, to join you in this journey. And syempre, sometimes you also have to respect if they want to join or parang hindi sila okay to participate.
Of course.
It's absolutely fine. But yeah, yun yung biggest challenge kasi ang important nung material, and you have to be ready to adapt sa kung sino yung magiging audience mo. That also excites me. Kasi ang daming magic na nangyayari. Yun na nga, minsan, nandiyan yung mga friends mo and then people will think, parang ni-rehearse nyo yan. Diba? Parang I had a show before na it was between Escalante o kaya Gerald Napoles, and they're like, are you sure hindi kayo nag-rehearse niyan? Kasi parang nag-rehearse kayo. We're like,
Planted.
hindi talaga, hindi talaga. Wala kami pinag-usapan, wala. Everything that was said, it happened organically. And then it also happens na, ayan, hindi ko talaga siya kilala. Feel mo na lang yung vibe. Minsan nagkakatingin na lang kayo for a second and then you're like, feeling ko, pwede ko siyang i-cast for this role and I hope tama yung feeling ko. So, yeah, yun na yung nangyayari. And it makes it all exciting. So, wala. Ano siya ganyan siya, intertwined. And we just have to be ready as actors. We really just have to take care of ourselves and to make sure we're at the right state and really make ourselves open. And then when we see the audience, they're gonna feel that energy rin naman. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so Brian's question. Ano yung challenge ng lungs?
I think more than anything is being able to make flawed characters relatable
Okay.
and how you can empathize with them nonetheless, and to understand that they can be versions of actual human beings, di ba? Na parang hindi porket they act a certain way, especially sa climate natin ngayon, we're so quick to judge, we're so quick to cancel people, that culture, di ba? Na parang they're not entirely evil, but they end up making mistakes, or whether it's due to naivete, or their own issues that they haven't faced. And I think that was the biggest challenge more than anything. And syempre, nandun yung technical side na, oh my God, tayong dalawa lang to. 77 pages worth of show na parang, oh my God. Huh. So, apart from that, I think yun yung hinahanap namin, even up till now, na parang how do we make them not too clean-cut, but not too flawed, but that balance of being human, that humanity in them. So that, akong personal philosophy ko kasi, I think we're in the business of empathy and understanding. So, a part of it is really showing even those dume of these characters. Like, it comes from something real and human. And we can love them nonetheless. We can forgive them. We can relate. Na parang, hopefully, that's the kind of thing that we are able to achieve with the story.
Did you have anything to add, Justine?
No, I think it was well.
Thank you.
Thanks, partner.
Nag-alternate talaga kayo. Did you guys play a couple in the thing?
Yes. yes.
Anything you want to say about that?
Well,
Ito yung biggest challenge.
big physically kasi ang tangkad niya. So nakaganon ako. And no, I would say so Brian and I play one couple, but I will say that how we are as a couple will be completely different from how you will see our alternates Reb and Sab.
Right.
So again, I guess what we're trying to do is we're trying to represent certain people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we represent all.
Sure.
Parang ganon.
Right.
So kumbaga, iba na nga kaming dalawa, pero there are other people going through similar problems, probably having similar conversations, but are very different, also equally flawed, but also equally valid in their concerns. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And I think that's what makes Duncan's writing beautiful
Yeah.
and worth it. Diba, na parang ang daming versions na pwede man lumabas, even with the same text.
Yeah.
Parang ganun.
Galing talaga ni Kuya Dang.
Kuya Dunks! Good job!
Ayun, what do you call this? Natatos tuloy ako.
Kuya Dang. Good job.
So, back to your other castmates. So, Teresa Herrera, John Santos, Reb Atadero, Sab Jose. So, great names. What's it like working with them? Parang any interesting stories about working with them?
Great
I'm particularly curious about John Santos because I'm a fan.
First of all, he's amazing.
Oh.
Yes, it's so exciting to have him in this family. That sounds very showbiz. But it's true eh. Talagang, like, I worked with John in Ang Huling El Bimbo also. And, kumbaga, he's really one of those artists na there's a reason kung bakit sila legends.
Right.
And at the same time, he's also very like, wag niyong gamitin yung mga words, ng mga legends or icons, please. It's, he just wants to keep things simple and he just wants to do the work. Yun eh. Kaya it's very wonderful to have him in the show I wish we could be co-actors, pero hindi eh. But we're sharing what we know.
Right.
So far, John just started rehearsing. Kasi Filipino translation of Every Brilliant Thing yung kanyang gagawin. So also this is something new. This was translated by Gelan Warca, and he's doing his masters in
Yeah.
New
In New
York,
York,
right? So nag-antay muna kami na okay kapag tapos na pwede na mag-start si John. And he has seen the show before. He would watch rehearsals. So ganun yung proseso namin. Masaya kapag nandiyan siya kasi nagtatanong siya. Ang dami ng, di ba? Ang dami ng tanong. He's very interested to know your process. He's gonna ask permission if can I use this device that you're using? Pwede ko rin ba itong gawin itong ano na to? Ginagawa mo dito kasi parang panalo eh. And then we're gonna talk about, what if we do this? Okay lang ba sa'yo? What do you think if I do this? So, very collaborative. And just his brain is just so full of brilliant ideas. Just yesterday, backstage, ang dami na naming tawa, right? Just
Yeah, because he's so open.
my gosh. And
So open.
the puns just keep coming out. Alam mo yun? And then we're like, oh my, did he even catch that? What he just said? As in, and ayun, kaya excited kami sa kung ano man ang gagawin. Teresa, on the other hand, she was the first one who starred in Every Brilliant Thing here in Manila. She opened the shows first, and then I came in around the second or third week. Oh my God, Teresa's heart, really. It's like, may term na ginamit ng aming director si Jenny Hamora. It's like watching her, parang, she's like an open wound. Parang her access to emotions, and then you immediately empathize with her. You watch her, and then you feel your heart break as well. So, yun ang na-enjoy ko watching her. I'm just like, oh my gosh, can you just hug you right now?
She's like a bear.
Ganun siya na parang like a bear. Natawa ako sa like a bear. I was gonna say like a baby. Natawa ako sa like a bear. No, but really, it's like, oh my gosh, grabe yung, you really will empathize with her. And yun, kaya exciting kasi, grabe, we bring something different. And we also share everything with each other. We consult with each other. And we have a director na ang galing rin mag-handle ng iba't ibang personalities.
Yeah, tell us more about your director.
Oh my gosh. Jenny Hamara is the best. The best. Sinasabi sa TV.
Along with Kaisa Borromeo.
Kaisa Borromeo, also
The
the best. It's wonderful because their directors, we're also lucky to call them our friends. And ang galing ng pag-handle nila ng material.
Yeah.
They know, Jenny, I can speak for Jenny with this. She knows the weight of the material as well.
Okay.
So she doesn't take it lightly. She really makes sure na yung advocacy ng play talaga yung manlalama. So she makes sure na the message comes across very clearly from our first line. She always makes that. So yes, last night, in fact, yun ang note niya sa akin. The first line. You have to make that very clear. And yeah, galing can't imagine dealing with 3 different personalities and still being able to dissect the script, and then now in Filipino, and to bring out just, I really think the best performances from us, and she really asks that from us while being gentle. Ano mo yun, kasi yung old school style na, nako, hindi mo, walang ganun, wala kami na experience na ganun. Ibang-iba na ang theater right now.
Yeah.
We have a lot of directors like that who are very collaborative. We're also asking, can you try this?
Yeah.
Instead of do this.
Yes.
Mga ganon.
I love that.
Try it. How about this? Let's see how you feel, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And
If it
then-
doesn't feel right for you, that's all right. Find something that works.
Exactly. They're always coming from that space. Because in the end, they want the best for the show. And they don't ever want to make you look bad. So, it's great working with directors like Jenny and Kaisa.
Yeah, you can tell that it's not just about their vision. It's what can we do together to make this show stand out. Just the show. Like, it's not about me, my ego, what I wanted to do,
Correct.
you, my artista, to do whatever. No, it's, okay, let's put the material at the forefront, and what can we do? What can we discover together to make sure that the story comes across? And I love that they're able to do that, with different casts, and they acknowledge na, okay, this is how you're gonna do yours. I respect that, but you can get there a different way.
Yeah.
Sobrang very respectful, very collaborative.
Sounds very healthy.
So,
It is. It's
Sobra.
I honestly,
Honestly.
this coming back into the theater was
Yeah.
kind of a refreshing surprise because it's so, I want to say, respectful.
Yes.
Everyone is so careful and caring and empathetic towards everyone. I think because we all went through a shared trauma
Correct.
as a whole. So everyone now just wants to make sure na, okay, we are going to do this, but we are going to do this right. And we are going to make sure that we are in the right state of mind to do it.
Diba? Respecting boundaries as well. And if I may add also, Jenny would always start with a check-in.
Okay.
So she's gonna check in tayo. How are you today? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? And then also she will check us out. Yung meron kaming proper na, okay, wag natin iuwi. Kung ano yung mga nagawa natin dito sa rehearsal. And then minsan, pupunta talaga akong rehearsal na, Jenny, I'm sorry I'm late. I don't even know how I'm feeling today. And she's like, okay, you know what? Let's just throw lines.
Yeah.
Let's just throw lines. And then later on, as we're throwing lines, nararamdaman ko, ay,
Things are happening.
ginawa ko na yung show.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's gonna meet you where you are. And ganun din si Kaisa. She's like, okay,
Yeah.
basta tayo. All right, you know what?
Definitely. I love that. Remember when we were, I think at one point, Brian and I hit like a memorization wall, like nothing's coming in anymore. And she was like, okay, you know what? Let's just pick up our scripts again. Let's not make it about remembering the lines.
Okay.
You'll get it.
Yes.
Let's just have this about the story. So, yun nga, very, very trusting, very respectful. It's such a great way to collaborate and to create. And I love that they're that way and that we can do that with this kind of material because the material itself is open. So it wouldn't make sense if you had like an old school type of method of trying to direct something.
Right.
Yeah.
Kumbaga, it wouldn't do justice to that kind of material.
Yeah.
So the three of you have been immersed in the theater scene for so long. Like I've seen your biodatas. Very, very impressive.
Ikaw naman.
Yeah. Grabe
So besides that parang post-pandemic kindness na nangyari, like what has changed from the time you first got into theater to now?
Natawa
ko kasi parang ang daming memories and then also like, just ang tanda ko na. My gosh. Let's say TF is relatively better. Relatively, okay? Relatively.
But it could
Because-
still be better.
Oh,
yes.
definitely.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Oh,
Because,
yes.
man, I started with less than 300 pesos for a
Wow.
show.
Mhm.
Can you, oh my gosh. And then now I'm like, magkano nang binabayad? My gosh, ang swerte niyo mga bata. Ganyan.
Oo, uy, makakakain na tayo
Diba?
after ng show.
Diba? Before talagang,
May baon ako.
saan yung mapupunta yung kinita ko dito?
Ah,
But yeah,
for the love.
For the love. For the love.
Passion.
Of course, it can still be better. Oh, it can be so much better. But when I started, wala pang Theater Actors Guild. And then, in fact, kasama ko sa mga nag-incorporate ng Theater Actors Guild. So may mga little steps towards, making the industry better. Meron na ring Phil Stage, things like that. And then, more independent theater companies as well.
Yes.
Right.
Before kasi, konti lang eh. And sometimes, as a result of like, okay, just these few major players in the industry, they can also control how much people are getting, how much yung salary.
Right.
Paano yung behavior, paano yung kultura.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, with a lot of independent theater groups, new
Yeah.
theater companies emerging, ang dami ng players in the industry, so they can offer competitive rates, they can offer better working environments.
Yeah.
So yun ang pinakagusto ko. Before, konti lang rin yung shows na pwede naming salihan. So,
Totoo rin.
nag-aagawan or minsan gusto ko ng work pero wala akong choice. I don't really know if this musical or play suits me.
Right.
If I even believe in whatever this show or, is advocating for, mga ganun.
Mhm.
But now, kahit pa paano, we're able to choose. Diba? We're able to choose na, I want to just do this show. I don't have to do these shows if I don't need, because I don't need to anymore. Marami na ring opportunities for us as well, outside of theater.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I love the newer culture now, which again, not just performing opportunities outside of theater. Dati kasi, kung nasa teatro ka, depending on which companies you're affiliated with, what projects you're doing it, they'll frown upon you for having other work.
Yes.
So
It's true.
it's true. So that wasn't a very healthy thing because again, it wasn't as sustainable.
Yeah.
And then so mangyayari talaga pag wala kang project nga ka, which would make it harder for newer faces, for newer talents to penetrate the industry. But now it's so normal na, oh, I'm doing this show and I'm like the head SM and I also sell insurance. Do you want? How is your life plan?
Absolutely.
Diba? And it's such a good thing to be able to do that, to be able to promote multiple streams of income. I love that is what the younger generation is bringing. There no tolerance for lack of respect, and at the same time, they're understanding that no, we need to be able to be smart with what we're doing.
Yeah.
And given that, they're also able to put on their own shows. I mean, even during the pandemic, there were so many online readings.
Exactly.
And and I mean, can you imagine when we were starting, we would have been too scared to do something like that because
too insecure to do
too
that,
insecure
really.
because it wasn't an environment that sort of allowed that.
Yeah.
Or parang pili lang talaga na mangyayari yung pwede yung ganon. Pero ngayon talaga, it's like, gagawin nila yung oy, nood tayo. You know, it's such a welcoming environment now. Maybe it was the pandemic, maybe it was the fact na we realized na when everything shut down, now tayo na lang talaga yung magbe-build nito.
Right.
And we can start from scratch. So let's do this right. So I do feel like it's less catty. It's less,
Yes.
Pansin mo?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And before din, di ba, merong parang, so English shows lang.
Ikaw si Tagalog ka lang.
Oo, si Tagalog.
Si West End and si West Ab.
Yun ang joke namin dati. Ay, mga ganyan. Tapos ngayon, it's a thing na. It's a thing to be able to do.
To the other.
Kaya mo mag-Tagalog, kaya mo mag-English. Yes, kumakanta, hindi. Okay. There are options for everyone. And yeah, di ba?
I think to give credit where credit is due, we are experiencing the results of the past couple of decades of what the veterans
Yeah.
of our
Tama rin.
have been working towards.
Tama rin.
Na parang surprisingly, ito na pala yun.
Yes.
Di ba parang in the mid-2010s, nagkaroon ng theater boom in a sense.
Yeah.
At least in Metro Manila, you kind of felt na more shows were coming up,
Yeah.
more theater companies were coming in. And then ang dami na rin nanonood. Slowly, mga people who were exposed to that kind of culture. But now, we're seeing it. People who probably are not even taking up theater in high school or college, but they're watching. They're going out. And this has become the emergence of new voices. Yung parang because whether good or bad, the stuff that was happening before, eto na yung
It was a
result.
start.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
start eh.
And you see more people coming to a collective. And I'm only speaking from experience of a Metro Manila theater.
Oo,
Napatawa.
tama yan.
Regional theater.
Tama. I wish we could. Hanggang Cebu lang yung
But
mga
that's
napapanood ko.
what Phil Stage is working towards
Yes,
nga din, di ba? So
correct.
again,
Expanding.
because of the pandemic, when everything went online, it also gave people a chance to see the works outside of
Right.
Metro Manila. Kasi madami. I mean, alam mo yung bawat kanto sa Pilipinas, merong magaling kumanta.
Yes.
It's that talaga eh.
Correct.
So we're unfortunately down to our last two questions.
Go,
but-
Brad. Yan, sa'yo na yan lahat.
Mas wala na kami
Go.
questions.
Oh yes, this is actually a big one. So, so marami nang na-improve sa theater scene ngayon. Pero what else do you think should be done to improve or uplift Philippine theater?
Mahirap nga.
It's a beauty queen question.
Our beauty queen.
I think more than anything, it's that now that we are seeing that there is an emerging market for what we're doing, there are new voices. If we can find a way to be able to bridge little micro,
Companies.
companies from all over the country, find ways to connect them, whether it's through a let's say, a festival.
A fringe festival ulit, di ba?
Something
Somebody
like,
stage.
no,
Oo.
or cross-cultural programs. If that's the proper way of putting it. Na, at least to me, I was lucky kasi na I was able to go outside of the country and be able to perform in like student festivals across the globe. Na iba yung experience of witnessing different kinds of storytelling. Nakikihalubili ko sa ibang tao na iba yung kultura. Dito pa lang, ang dami ng ganun na variety sa atin. Na we're missing out on so many things. And I think, hopefully, that's the next step. Hopefully, we start creating programs, whether it's in the university, whether it's in LGUs, whether it's in a bigger, grander scale of professional theater, and we're able to collaborate with people from all over the country to be able to tell stories that we don't normally tell, diba? To show it to a wider audience, an audience that probably has patrons who have money to be able to fund,
Right.
I mean, that's
Yes,
the
yes.
ecosystem
Of
naman.
course.
Tama.
To be able to create an industry.
Yeah.
And I think that's what nas in a Phil stage in a TOF, the Venetia are working towards also, na parang that sort of thing. Now, so that we create a space talaga wherein we can tell more truths.
Yeah.
And experience each other's truths.
And you can have a better creative economy.
Yeah.
Diba? Yun talagang inaano rin ni...
And make it more sustainable talaga.
Yes.
Like, oh, this is a legitimate career that you
Yeah.
can live off.
Yes.
And, diba, it's viable talaga in that way.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So final question, which is actually even more beauty queen than the last. But it might be slightly easier. Who knows? So tigisa kayo.
Okay.
What's your advice to young Filipinos who want to get into local theater?
Tawa na tawa, sorry.
What tinatawa? Let's start with Kakki.
Thank you for the question. I
Maybe.
would like to say
Round ka na eh.
na, you know, if you would like to really pursue theater as a career, then you just have to keep auditioning, keep learning about the industry, not just as an actor. Tulad na sinabi ni Jessie kanina, you can also join the industry as, let's say, part ka ng social media team or producing team, stage management.
Right.
Maraming entry points to do theater. And even if hindi ka performer, or if gusto mo maging performer, even experiencing lahat ng mga yon will make you a better performer. So find your best entry point. Strategize that. And also look at what you can contribute as an actor. Marami rin kasi talagang, marami ng actors din. So maraming magagaling rin na Filipino artists. And exciting to see new faces. So for me, just go for it. And important you keep learning. And also you learn from good companies,
Yeah.
I think. Kasi yun din eh, ang dami ng great companies to learn from ngayon.
Right.
Also, keep watching. I really think that's where I also learn by watching as many shows as I can. Basta maaalam ng budget ko. I will watch and I will find a way to watch for free. Mga ganon. How can I watch for free? Oh, I can usher. I used to do that eh. I'm gonna usher in this opera show para mapanood ko si Sherry Hill. RIP. Mga ganon. I wanna learn from, wow, ang galing-galing nitong actor na to. What can I do? Yun talaga yung, pwede ba akong mag-usher? Can I help you in a certain way so that I can watch shows for free?
Right.
So that you can keep learning.
Right.
And yeah, I think yun lang yung magiging advice ko. Because you learn and you also contribute sa industry na you want to be part of in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you, contestant number 1.
Ay, thank you.
Contestant number 2, Justine Peña.
Oh my God. Well, like what my
Wow.
No, I completely agree with what Kakki was saying. It's the kind of thing, and now more than ever, that if you really want to do it, just go for it. I would say, be smart about it. Kung dati kaya natin yung tira lang ng tira with everything, now you can think about it more. Yun nga, play your strengths. So whether or not you want to start off as a digital designer for posters, that sort of thing. There is no stopping you from learning everything else. I think if you really do want to pursue theater or acting as a craft, you really just have to be open, because you, as any part of the creative team, as any part of, the production team in theater, you have to understand different people, because your job is to tell stories about different people. So whether it's reading the news, watching films, reading books, you really just have to keep yourself open and to keep yourself ready to absorb new information. And yung favorite ko, parang si John Santos. Walang ere. I mean, yun nga, legend, and yet he is still that open book talaga.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would like to think that we all strive to be. And if you're gonna start off that way, then that's a good start for you already. Take lessons. Parang magaling ka kumanta, sige, mag-lessons ka pa. No harm in that, because you're always gonna learn that sort of thing.
And just to add to that, theater is hard. I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's hard. It's hard, guys. So you really have to be sure na this is what you want, and know na marami kang pagdadaanan. To really go through this industry and to continue with the work that you do. Every year na dumadaan, there's always going to be something new to learn.
Yeah.
It never really gets easy. And so it's that kind of craft. So you just have to be open and to keep learning.
And finally, contestant number 3.
So, theater.
Accent with an R-E. Not an E-R. With
Theater. Technology.
Ayun na naman yung accent eh.
Ang sa akin, tama ang sinabi niyo lahat nila. Pero I guess, I don't know, advice? Know that the decision to get into it is part of a lifelong journey.
That has so much weight. Yeah,
Oo nga,
so much weight na pagod ako.
Naiyak ako.
Because diba, yun, like with anything, for example, I've known people who started in theater, have used their experience in it. They're not doing it professionally now, but they're using their experiences on other fields.
Yes.
You know?
And they come to support our shows.
Yeah, exactly. And they're successful there, and they have admitted to the fact that they've been using it, and that sort of thing. Because it's one of those little sectors where you see collaboration at work, if done right. Yeah. Even if it's done wrong, when you learn things, you learn things out of it, diba? I mean, most fields naman are like that. Pero, yun, payo ko rin na parang huwag ka rin matakot na kahit na lifelong journey siya, hindi naman katapusan yan kapag kunyari may failure na nangyari. Or may success, hindi rin katapusan yun. Hindi ibig sabihin lahat successful. Diba? So, come into it with open arms and honesty, and find your reason as to why you want to stay there for a long time, in spite of the hardships and what. Nasabi niyo na rin, ang dami ng entry points for it, ang dami na rin exit points towards other things. Diba?
Fairness.
So, ayun lang sa akin, chill lang.
So, vote na for your contestants. Ayan. Thank you so much, guys. That's actually the end of our chat. I'm so sorry. I know that you guys have a lot more to say. Ayun. So, that was Rappler Talk Entertainment, guys. Thank you, Brian, Justine, and Kakki for being here with us. Sandbox Fest 2023 will run from June 17 to July 15 at the Maybank Performing Arts Theater in BGC. I'm Marguerite De Leon. Thank you guys for watching.